Hello and welcome to the video, Creating an Availability Alert with Application Insights. This is some of the neatest stuff here. In this video, we're going to create an Azure Application Insights availability test. And I'm going to show you how to see what regions you can test your application from and set some alert levels, and then configure email notification options and alert thresholds. And the general idea here, as we're getting into our Application Insights account, is that we want to test our application and make sure that it's up and that it's responding from different regions. Come down here to Investigate and Availability. And now let's add an availability test. Let's give your test a name. We can use a basic ping test or a multi-step web test. The multi-step web tests are much more feature-rich, but we're going to stick with a URL ping test for this one. And now let's get our URL that we're going to ping. So we'll switch over to our function apps. And we'll get that function URL, and that will be our URL that we're going to test. We'll also use that parameter so that we're actually invoking the function and getting a valid response back. The test frequency just identifies how often we want this test to run. The test locations. Here we can see which regions we want to test from. We can select all of the regions, just a few. And then you can set your success criteria. When do we know our app is up? Our function app responds very quickly, so it should never take 30 seconds. The status code of 200 will work. We also want to have a content match, where the content must contain. Now the alert type can be real-time or near real-time or classic. Our availability test has been created. Now let's go in and we can see a little bit more about it. We edit the alert. Here's where things get really neat. We can specify whether it's an alert when just one of the regions reports an error, when all of them do, or anywhere in between. We can also specify when we have a problem over the last 5 minutes, start checking it every minute, or a little less aggressive. Next, we can specify some alert details. We can even set the severity of this alert. And then we can define group action. And we don't have any action groups set up yet, so let's create one. We can specify an action group name and a quick name to call it. And look at all of these action types that we can use here. We're going to use an email and show you how to configure that, but you can actually call another function or a webhook or an automation runbook. And even in just the email, we've also got more features than just email. We can specify an email to one of our teams, send them a text message, call their phone, or an Azure app. The action group is created, so let's go ahead and select it. And our alert is ready. In this section, we learned how to connect an existing function app to an Application Insights instance. We saw how to view historical and live usage data. We examined performance metrics and error details, and even created an availability test and configured it to send emails to a team. In the next section, we'll test and connect our code using Azure Functions tools.